Hi everyone, today we are drawing an optical illusion. So on the left you're going to see what the end product will be, that's what we're making today, and on the right I'll be showing you how to make it. All you need for this is a blank piece of paper, a pencil with an eraser, and a black marker. If you don't have a black marker, that's okay, you can use the pencil for all of this if you need to. It also might be helpful if you have a Q-tip. I will show you why, but you'll have to wait and see. So let's get started. First, all you need is your pencil. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw these biggest shapes out. And all they really are these organic shapes that just flowed out of my pencil. So all you really want to do is just kind of let your pencil flow. Make some weird shapes. I mean, really, this it looks like Swiss cheese too. All you really need is these weird blobby shapes. Just make sure they're round. That's the most important thing. When they get too sharp, they end up a little weird. They can be big, they can be small, just don't make them too small, because ones like this get difficult. But you can try it out if you want. Alright, so now I have my blobs, we'll call them. Now I'm going to go do the second layer of my drawing. So what you need to do is you need to draw more of those blobs, a little bit smaller, but some of them can flow into the other blobs. So I'll show you. So without flowing, I might draw a shape like that, but I'll round that out. If I wanted this shape to move from this shape to this shape, it might go in between. It might help you to draw the whole shape and then erase parts that you don't need. So what I mean by going into the other shapes, so my line ends here and then it's going to move into this area too, and all the way into this area. If you need to, you can draw the whole line like this and then just erase what you don't need. Because we want this layer to be on the outside. That's what we're drawing. And you're just going to do that all over your paper. These blobs that we're making are the holes. Everything outside of the holes is the layer. Alright, so that's my second layer. We need a total of 3 layers, so I'm going to draw more blobs inside the second layer. So make sure that you're drawing inside the second layer of blobs that we made. The way you can tell is that they're smaller. So we want to make even smaller blobs. And they can go through other blobs as well. But notice how I left this space in between. It went behind. And like I said, they can be any shape you want as long as they're round. Doesn't really matter. Because with this optical illusion, we're more concerned with the depth that we see when we shade. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Alright, I think I have enough now. So for the sake of time, I'm only going to show you how to shade in one of these spaces, but you're going to use the same technique with all of the shapes you made. So the first thing you need for the shading is your black marker. If you don't have a black marker, you can use your pencil just a lot darker. You want to go as dark as you can. So I'm going to use my black marker and I am going to very carefully fill in the very smallest blobs I made and nothing else. Only the smallest ones. If it helps you when you're drawing out the smallest ones in your third layer, you can put a little X inside them so that you know which ones you're going to be coloring in. So I'm going to very slowly fill these in, making sure that I'm really paying attention to the lines I drew. And you know what? This marker has 2 ends, this really wide end and a very little end. I'm going to use the little end because it might make this a little easier for me to get those details. If you're using a marker like I am that's alcohol based, like a Sharpie, you might want to have something underneath your paper so that it doesn't bleed onto your tabletop. I'm not super worried because I'm drawing on top of a drawing board that I get marks on all the time, so it's not that big a deal. But if you're on like your kitchen table, you might not want to get marks, so maybe get another scrap piece of paper or some newspaper to put underneath it, okay? If you're using a Crayola marker, you won't have an issue at all. You don't have to worry about bleeding through. So now I am done with the marker just on this section. If I were doing the whole thing, I would be filling in all of the little spots with the black marker. Go slowly so you don't make a mistake. So, now I'm going to move on to the pencil. Now we're going to fill in the blobs around the black parts. So only these shapes, these kind of medium-sized blobs. And we're going to do that in that darkest pencil layer. It helps if you go in one direction with your pencil as well. Press really hard. If you're using just pencil for this, you'll want to go just slightly lighter than what you did for the parts we did with the marker. You want it to be just a little bit different. So just a little less pressure. Alright, now I'm going to move on to the second one. If you're worried about getting pencil on your hand, you can put another piece of paper underneath your hand to block it from touching the graphite. Alright, so now I have all the darkest parts of the pencil done. Next, you want to do the lightest parts. So you're going to fill in the rest of that blob with much lighter pencil. Just use less pressure and fill it in. Alright, so now I have all my lightest pencil filled in. That's where the Q-tip comes in. We're going to use the Q-tip for blending. You can either use Q-tip, a tissue, even your finger if you really want to, but we just want to blend all that pencil so we see less pencil marks and more shadow. I like to go in kind of a small circular motion. You could really do it any way you want. I like the Q-tip because it doesn't get anything on my fingers. It's a lot easier to control than a tissue. And I'm doing all my darkest parts first, and then I'll go back and do the lightest parts. And you can get that edge, and we can clean it up with the eraser at the end. Alright, so now I'm going to use the other side and do the light pencil. Blend it all out. So it looks less like a drawing and more like layers of Swiss cheese. We want to fool our audience. Alright, that looks nice and blended. So now I'm going to use my eraser and I'm just going to clean up all those edges to make sure they're nice and sharp. And once you erase, if you need to, you can take your pencil again and redefine that edge. Alright, So that is the technique you're going to use for all of your paper, and it will end up looking pretty three-dimensional. And if you want, you can even take your pencil and darken the edge where the layers meet to make it look like that light gray layer is above the dark gray layer. You can add a little bit of shading to the edge, and it just helps it a little bit more. Pushes things forward, pushes things backward. Just like that. So when you are totally finished, I need you to send me a photo on either Class Dojo, Google Classroom, or you can even email it to me. But just make sure you get a photo to me and send me an email or a message if you have any questions. I hope you all enjoy this project. I'll see you later.